Acapulco, Mexico. No, I'm not there right now. I'm back in Neza York, Mexico City. But in this episode, we talk about our experience at Anarchapulco. We talk about our experiences move into Mexico, the smooth transition it was. We talk about how crazy and empowering it can be hanging out with an extended range of anarchists. You know, maybe a couple thousand, a couple hundred, doesn't matter. I'm just happy to hang out with some good friends. So, you know, we tell a few stories about our experience, a few different ideas that we share. Those that are donating, thank you very much. With Bitcoin prices going through the roof this last week, don't be ashamed, send through your Satoshis. That's cool, they'll be worth millions one day. Those that want to support real money like Bitcoin, like gold and silver, go jump on our website, www.theparadigmparadox.com, where you can buy a t-shirt, where you can show your support for sound money. Those that are interested in more stories of Anarchapulco, check out our range of Anarchapulco Nights. We get up to mischief, so we like to share the stories. And those that want to go, well, send us a message. Put a comment below. Don't waste your time while you're down there. Subscribe, and
let's get into it.
Cool. So this is going to make up Anarchapulco Nights 2, because the first episode we're talking about the party night and how I, for a moment, thought I was communist.
Okay.
So episode
Right.
100. Episode 100, if you're interested in checking that out.
Okay, the born-again communist. The closet communist.
Yeah.
Yeah, jumping
But-
out
but
and
what I
stealing
realized
the kids
was
and forcing them to read the Marx, the Communist Manifesto.
Yeah, I'm interested in reading that,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't be my top 50 books to read.
Okay, fair enough. I don't think it's very
Like,
long.
if
I've never read it, so.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like something overly valuable, but interesting.
Yeah, sure. Cool. So we have a few little stories to tell, things about things that went on at Anarchapulco 2016 that were a bit different outside the conference itself, like not with listening to the speakers. One thing I remember happened. We were walking down the street along the Costera, and we saw Barry Cooper and his wife there. So Barry Cooper of Never Get Busted, the guy's ex-cop who's fighting against the drug system and trying to do some work with drug addicts to help them get their life back on track. Do you want to tell the story, Aaron?
Sure. Well, I don't remember where we're coming from. I know we're on a beer run, and we're cruising down the street, and Barry to me was one of the coolest people there, mainly because of the shift that he experienced. I mean, to go from being a detective busting people for weed or drug use to being someone that's now working on the other side and helping people understand the situation. I mean, that shift is a complete change of worlds and mentality. So when I saw him on the street, I mean, it was just natural to wave out to him and, "Yo, Barry, what's up?" And it could have been my state of consciousness at the time, but it didn't seem like he computed what I said. And his response to, "Hey, Barry, what's up?" was, "You want weed?" What?
No, it was you said.
And
You said we were conversing with him, and you said something about feeling weird, and he said, "Did you say weed?"
Was that it? Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I mean, the whole Anarchapulco experience is pretty weird because you. I mean, it's late nights every night. You know, whether you want to or not, and all day, you know, you're listening to very inspirational and mind blowing, lectures, talks, or discussions, and then the people you're hanging out with. It's like it's a big load on your mind. And then at night you just continue, exploring the ideas. So, we're all weathered. I mean, this is night 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. It all gets mixed up in one big compost or potpourri of delicious experiences.
Yeah. So, I mean, my response to you need weed was like, yeah, sure. I mean, it's Barry Cooper. I'm not going to turn him down, right? I mean,
yeah. So he handed you like a solid nug. It was like 5 grams or so, I think.
it was bigger than my thumb,
All right.
and I got big hands.
Yeah. So yeah. So that was cool. Free weed.
Yeah, that was about it with that. But it was just, I mean, it blows me away the fact that you can go through such a transition like that.
Yep.
So it was an honor, to be able to see him in the street and have a chat. We're there for a few minutes. I don't know where he was off to, probably a party or something, and then we continued our journey.
Yep. Well, that's an interesting thing to talk about, all the interesting people we met. The thing was, I was staying in this villa with Anna Pashanta and a bunch of other guys like Frederick Bastiat. That's the name he goes by, and Monty and Jesse and Maverick and all these guys, and also the
Joby.
Yeah, Joby Weeks and his wife Stephanie, we and Sue as well, and hope I haven't forgotten anyone. Anyway, so the interesting thing was, Aiden Gregg, that's the other guy. The interesting thing was, at one point the owner of the villa came by, and he was there with his friend, and this guy is like a legit millionaire, I believe. I mean, this house is worth like 1.3 million US probably.
Yeah. When you say villa, it's like people have an idea of a villa, but you really need to go there and see it, because it's not a villa. I wouldn't call it. Well, I don't really know what a villa is, but it's not what I expected. I mean, this is like this would be like a Playboy mansion carved in the side of Acapulco cliff with views spectacular. One of those pools where the water just flows over into the Anarchapulco Bay. I don't know, man. You help me explain, because it's beyond words. Not to mention, it had a full kitchen and team. It was like full staffed. So it was like a restaurant 24/7, wasn't it?
Not exactly 24/7, but yeah, they were loving it.
Yeah,
so,
it was nice.
Yeah, they would make breakfast and dinner, and and ask them to make some quesadillas, and they're like, yeah, sure, whatever you want. They go to the store and buy the stuff and charge you for it, whatever. And yeah, like a 5-bedroom place, really nice place with a pool, beautiful view, great people, and yeah, so it was kind of for a moment I started to feel this kind of culture shock, because they're talking with Monty and Adam and Jess. And they started talking about aeroplanes, and I don't mean like taking a flight from like Washington DC to Virginia or something like that. I mean buying an aeroplane and flying an aeroplane, and they're like, yeah, that's definitely my next major purchase. And I was like, holy shit, these guys are just talking about planes, like it's something casual, like you just buy a plane and fly a plane. I mean, Monty has like a ranch in Canada, and he has about 3 or 4 horses. Yeah, so
Oh, cool! I wasn't aware. Well, I mean, and it's just that when you go to Anarchapulco, everyone is such a. I mean, they're all developed people. They all have like really defined likes. They all. I mean, they're active. I don't know how to. They're activated people. I could say, you know, that they're all choosing. You put out a little
self-actualized. I think is
about
the word you're looking for.
Yes, like you know, we're on top of the pyramid.
Yeah,
that's Maslow's work.
Yeah. Yeah, what were you saying? I put out a video.
Oh yeah, you put out a video a couple videos back about making choices, about choosing your life, and I mean everyone that's at Anarchapulco, you know, they're not choosing lightly, so you know you expect to find some big players.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so Monty has an interesting story about this place. I think it's called Pirate Alley. So he was the captain of a boat, going around this reputedly the worst place in the world for pirates to deliver a boat or something like that. Hopefully, I'll get to interview him about it over the coming months, Yeah, very interesting people, very interesting stories. And so is this, you know, like I said, it's kind of this moment of culture shock where I was like, geez, I'm really out of my depth. But then I thought, well, you know, I mean, people are just people. They put on the pants one leg at a time like the rest of us. So I just thought, well, I'll just put that out of my mind. I mean, I've got my own experiences too, and that's just as valid. So I just, you know, got on with it. But then the interesting thing as well was this contrast, staying in a villa, hanging out with a millionaire or two, film producers and real estate mogul and everything, all these people. And then there's this contrast because when we left the villa, I went to stay with Kenny, who again, I mean, he's not a millionaire, and that's not what he wants to be either. The guy is, as I've interviewed him a couple of times, we've interviewed him. The guy kind of rejects physical possession, so to some extent, he doesn't really care that much about money. He cares more about having good friendships, people he can rely on, and serving those people to maintain those friendships. So money is really low down on the scale. It's more about how can I help people and establish relationships so they can also help me, which is a very different way to live life, and very courageous. So sometimes I say Kenny is the most anarchist person I've ever met, and I still think that's true. Having the courage to live a life like that's so out of the ordinary and relies on relies on his wit and his faith in humanity to some extent. So
yeah, look, I remember we were talking about when I mentioned to you that sometimes personally I feel like almost a little phony in that I complain about the government situation and taxes, and I would like to be more. I would like to be more like Kenny, but that's a scary jump, and I don't think I could do it. Well, I mean, although I do believe in a lot what he believes, but you know, I still want to. I'm still pretty normal, I guess. You know, I'm not extreme or committed as he is.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I think sometimes it's hard to get a perspective on where you're at. Like I know you've said to me a few times. You said that I was courageous coming to Mexico without any firm roots here or something like that. But I never saw it like that. I was just like, yeah, pack up and go.
Yeah.
Let's check it out. And I think you're the same, that you don't necessarily realize it, that you can do all these things, take some great leaps of faith, with perhaps without even realizing that you're doing it. You just kind of class it as business as usual.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because even though I've got family here in Mexico, I mean, you know, I might see them once every 3 months when there's a party on or something. But you know, I've never had my hand out and asked for help, or you know, I'm in trouble. It's like, yeah, you just take care of whatever is the next call of duty.
Yeah.
But well, I mean, you're still in Guadalajara, and I mean, you've been there. What, I say a year and a half, or
well, nearly 2 years, pretty close to 2 years.
And has there been any struggles or anything that you say, you know, that you didn't expect? Because from my point of view, it's pretty smooth sailing, right?
Yeah, it seems reasonably smooth. I never remember being in a position. I guess to some extent, I probably put this out of my mind when reflecting on it.
Yeah,
but I can't. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any position I was in where I was like, oh, holy fuck. Maybe, I mean, one thing is like last year when we're coming back from Acapulco, and the police stopped us on the bus, and it came right to us and asked us for ID and tourist cards and that kind of thing. You know, for a moment I was like, oh dear, what's going to happen? Oh, of course. Okay.
So was I.
Yeah. The thing I forgot to mention was the bus crash, and the paramedics asking me, have you got insurance? And I'm like, no. And they're like, really? Are you sure?
Yeah.
And I thought, I might end up in a terrible hospital.
Just this week, I was catching the bus. What do you call them? Chimecos, like, you know, these mini buses around Mexico City, and the bus driver's pretty crazy. I mean, like some of the moves, like you wouldn't, if you're in Australia driving the way these bus drivers were driving, you'd get booked for negligent driving. And it occurred to me that there's probably been 3 accidents that I've been involved in. One on one of these microbuses, one of these mini buses. One in a taxi, and there's also been a crash on a big bus, but I mean like kind of like a side swipe. And I'm thinking, you know, in all the time that I've been here, why is it the last 6 months that I've been in 3 minor accidents? But I mean, it's not something that I'd be too concerned about, because I don't think. Well, I mean, they weren't major, but I mean, your bus accident was major, and you know, you took a good shock and damage. But with the I mean, with the insurance thing, I think the issue is you're caught where you don't really know what to do, or you don't really understand what's happening in that. What's the intention of the person asking you the questions? That makes it difficult.
Yeah, well, it seemed he was kind of disturbed that I didn't have insurance, like it was going to be a huge problem. Yeah, but you know, it wasn't. with the help of a little Mexican hospitality. Yeah. So. Yeah. Anyway, so the thing was we're staying in this in this apartment, and some nights like Pit Stop is laying on the bed next to me, and Pit Stop is not exactly a calm sleeper, and it's like through the night. Well, by the end of the night, his feet were on the pillow, and his head was where his feet should have been, and that. Yeah, that happened a couple of times.
So you've gone from the villa, multi-million-dollar villa with almost like room service, king-size bed, you know, more pillows than bed, to sharing a pillow with feet.
Yes. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, and even three of us in the bed, because Twiggy was in the bed as well at one stage. Three of us sharing this one bed.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm hanging out.
That's why I brought my yoga mat.
Yeah.
Well, I got the bed one night out of the 4. I was on the floor most of the time, but you know, I kind of like it down there. At least I got my own space.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a good thing to have. So I'm kind of hanging out with these anarcho-communists who get, you know, very radical people and very, very cool, relaxed people. And yeah, I guess it was kind of funny because I didn't think too much about the contrast at the time. And I wonder if that says something about me, like am I like this kind of chameleon, or I just go with the flow, like, yeah, okay, so there's, you know, millionaires hanging out. Yeah, let's chat to them, shake their hand, whatever. Communists who don't really believe that much in physical possessions, or relatively, and you know, hang out with them, whatever. You know, it's all good. Well,
that's part of the
experience.
The Anarchapulco experience. Yeah, completely, because everyone there is so unique, and I guess part of your character is that, you know, I say we're the same, and I say, you know, everyone that goes to the event is very accepting of everyone's point of view. Like, you know, anyone could listen to anyone speak about what they feel and think, and you know, we have a few critical discussions, but there's definitely a harmony amongst everybody that I think's unique.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. I mean, like Kenny last year was probably the only anarcho-communist at the whole event, but he only had one argument with somebody where they're saying, no, you must be a capitalist or something like that. I mean, otherwise, like myself and other people just said, oh, that's cool. Like, you like to live in communities and worker-owned cooperatives, worker-owned companies and that sort of thing.
Yes.
That's, you know, sounds great. Let's, try that. Time for a little change in the structure, try something very different. That's great.
Yeah, I really enjoy listening to Kenny's point of view, because a lot of it I haven't considered.
The other thing I wanted to talk about was at some points. So because I was performing and people had heard my song. Oh, okay, we dropped out for a sec. Okay, you back?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so I was performing at the event, of course, on Friday night, and in the preceding weeks, people had heard my song to Acapulco because I'd recorded it to be used in Juan's documentary. I think his title at the moment is Seeking Freedom. And the weird thing was, like, I remember one night for Juan's birthday party, somebody came up to me and said, you're Kurt Robinson. And I'm like, yeah, nice to meet you. And they're like, it's incredible to meet you. It's so great that you're here, or something like that. And I was like, okay, yeah, it's nice to see you too.
Yeah.
Or, you know, when we were at Paradise one night, and I started hearing a few certain notes of my song playing, and I walked up to Juan to say hello, and I was like, hey, I know this song, and then the song dropped in and my voice dropped in, and I'm having this, you know, this surreal experience of standing in a nightclub and hearing my own voice pump out across the speakers.
Insane.
slightly embarrassed about it, I guess, because, you know, who really loves hearing their own voice, even after all these years? And then, there were like, you know, some young ladies who were particularly impressed that like started swooning, and they're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it!" Or, and I still don't really know how to take that. I think it's
man. I think you should lap it up.
Yeah, I guess to some extent, but I guess I kind of wonder. Let's see. I'm thinking about how I can phrase this. The thing is, I've heard a lot of celebrities over the years talk about how it's weird that they get this much attention and people can't seem to act normal around them or something like that. I mean, not that it's even to that extent, because it's just this, you know, within this very small community among people who care somewhat about hip hop. In this one event, these few days in this one year, I had some semblance of celebrity, right? But the counterpoint to this is like, people say that if you're talking to a celebrity, don't just go up and say things like, "Oh my God, I love your stuff. It's so great, blah, blah, blah," because it's probably not going to be all that interesting to them, and they've probably heard it all before anyway. Yes. So just another, you know, another time of people saying that. And it's also just, it's a little uncomfortable to have someone gushing over you like that. Not that it's the worst thing you can do, but it's a little uncomfortable. The counterpoint was, I do remember, I went up to Adam Kokesh and he was giving away copies of his book Freedom, so I took one and one for a friend and got him to sign it. And I remember I said to him, "I love your work, man. You know, I've been following this for years, so I'm glad you're doing what you're doing." And it was kind of weird because I thought I caught this micro expression. Like he looked at me and shook my hand and he said, "I appreciate that," or, you know, a few short words. But at the same time, I was like looking in his eyes and seeing this look of like, yeah, okay, like whatever. Like I've heard that before, you know. So yeah, that's the others. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that feeling. I mean, you probably saw it because you know what it feels like on the other side.
Yeah.
Someone else might have just be overwhelmed with, you know, so great. You know, I got to hang out with Adam, and they probably wouldn't notice it. But I guess what would you suggest? I mean, you know, from your experience.
I don't know. I guess it's kind of like this age-old question, or internet age-old question about like going up to a beautiful woman and telling her that she's gorgeous, or just talking about talking about something completely different, or talking about talking about something that's in the situation, or talking about something interesting that you've thought of before, or I don't know what. Because the thing is, of course, a beautiful woman, it's not going to be the first time that someone has told her that she's beautiful, probably. So it's not like she's not going to stop in her tracks and go, "Oh, thank you so much for telling me that I'm beautiful. Thanks for paying attention to me." That ain't going to happen. Same thing with.
Well, she might, but it would be unconscious. Like it won't be real. You might want to say, "Hey, wow, you really have a big nose." That's probably going to be better.
No, I don't think so. That's.
I mean,
All right. Well, that goes into
No, well, I mean, at least he gets slapped in the face.
right. Well,
That's some kind of action,
if you
right?
get an emotional reaction, at least you're getting some emotion. At least there's some passion there. But I mean, that thing you're talking about, of course, goes into like Mystery's ideas about negs, or I don't know who invented it originally. This idea of like giving a woman a backhanded compliment. Like saying, you're really cute when you do that crooked smile or something like that, and she's like, "Hang on, is he complimenting me or not? I don't get it." It sneaks in. I mean, I wouldn't recommend that anybody do that because it's just kind of very contrived. This kind of pointless exercise, and it serves this. It comes in with this mentality.
Yeah, it's not nice.
Yeah, it is. Exactly. It isn't nice. And it comes in with this mentality like, oh, I'm going to have to trick this girl into liking me or something like that, which nobody has to do. So
Exactly.
I guess my point is if you talk to a beautiful woman or you talk to someone famous, just be real and normal with them. And I mean, you can say you respect their work, but don't drone on about it. I guess that's the point.